So who was not here the first day? Cool. You can leave your hand up if you didn't come the second day. Second day? Okay. So I don't talk about too much about it. Third day. And fourth day. And this is now fifth day. Yeah? Just to reiterate what I was talking about in the first class, just to make it brief, the subject was perspective, to try to change your view on how you look at stuff. Remember we talked about the box? For those who weren't here, the box is another point of view. So if you're looking forward and you're holding a box, you can either turn it to your comfort, 4 sides, 6 if you look at the top and bottom, or you move around the object. Different perspective. You turn it or you move around it. And you can apply that mentality to the way you perceive things to try to figure out another way for you to solve your problem, or not the problem, just a solution. Cool? Then I talked about the 3, which is the recycle symbol. So everyone know the recycle symbol? Yeah, it's recycle, reduce, reuse. But I changed that since we already know what that looks like because of our memory. Subject today is memory. I use absorb. So whatever a teacher is teaching you, you absorb it. If it's unidentified to you, then you adapt to it. You try to figure out your body and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. It's a plus and negative. Like I'll take classes that I may not like for the fact of knowing that, to make sure and verify that that's what I don't like. It just doesn't work with me, like ballet. Don't like? I mean, I don't hate it, but I can't do it. I can't even touch my damn toes. So just working things out, and then you apply it. You apply it to whatever your next goal is, or your craft, or your life, just anything. You just want to apply whatever that you're working on, that you don't waste that time and effort working out things. So it's, what'd I say? Absorb, adapt, and then apply. For those who are not here. Just running through quick notes because it's the halfway of the week so far, and we're going to start a different program, more technical into your brain, how it functions, and then how you can apply it to some methods that might help you in class, so you can be able to retain information and have less stress to think about stuff, so you can actually focus on the movements or the style or what the teacher's doing and creating in their environment. And then we talked a little bit about musicality. Characterizing, like we talked about characters, like you can be a character, you are a character, or you can be a character, something that you're not, but also just being able to be in that mindset of performing. Like for instance, I have a character right now talking to you. My character is very calm and collected, but when I'm on stage, I'm a cartoon. I turn on for the purpose of my environment. It is still me, but it's another part of me. And then when I'm off stage, Lando time is off. It's back to Orlando. Yeah, that's my full name. Aside from that, when I perform, it's a different type of character. I want to give my energy as much as possible. I want to grab it and throw it in your face, right? I want you to feel what I'm doing as a character too. It's like another persona. When I freestyle, it's a different character. I have a different kind of flow that I can't use when I battle. But when I battle, like I mentioned to some of you guys before, I become a murderer. I'm there to kill and put my body out there for you to feel what I'm doing, and you have no choice but to take it. That's the character that I kind of have. So all of those are my personas, but it still involves me. I'm not losing my sense of self, kind of thing, yeah? And for those who didn't even understand what sense of self is, senses are your 5, 6 if you're spiritual. I don't try to force that on people, but if you do feel energies and stuff like that, there is the 6th sense. You see the movie? Yes, no, yeah, cool. But I don't force it. So if you don't believe in that stuff, 5 senses, right? Taste, smell, touch, hearing, sight, kind of stuff, right? So all of these are going to be applied to that. SOS is a message. You guys know SOS? Help! Help! SOS, yes, no? Cool, talk to me, please. I just woke up or I'm going to fall asleep. Had my nap. SOS is a message, and more so that message is also a code. It's used in Morse. Right? Pressure to get a message, it's a code. You are a code. Your DNA is a code. You want to break your code sometimes to get a message across. And also, SOS is just asking for help. It's not being afraid to ask for help or be given help. I'm giving help whether you're asking for it or not, because that's just in me. But it's also okay to ask for help or talk to someone who had the same experiences or different experiences or point of views to help you in your life, because you only have one life. This is it, right? Unless you believe in reincarnation, but that's a whole nother subject. I don't believe in it. That's just me, though. For characterizing musicality, so you want to bring a character to life in your dance or your movement, just movement in general. I talked about 4 different things, and I'm going briefly for those. I'm talking a little bit fast to get to our subjects. We started late. 4 things you can pull from to characterize yourself if you're not comfortable being you, right? That's the 5th, but I talked about the 4. One is the genre of the music, the genre that you feel like pulling character from, whether it's country, right? Whether if it's rock, or hip hop, or opera, or whatever it is. Those are all genre and characters. You can kind of imagine what type of person you would be in that dance style if they ask you to dance that. That's a character. The other one is the artist. The artist who raps, talks, sings, has a style on top of that style. That's another character to pull from. One of my favorites, or few I can name, is A$AP Ferg, how he sounds when he raps. Original Ludacris, not the Ludacris now. Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott. You kind of see my pattern of character, kind of. And I can even go into other genres too, like Jack White from White Stripes, if you guys know rock music or whatever. Ozzy Osbourne has unique sounds. Beatles, they all have a certain sound on top of their musicality. But those are all characters. On top of this, you have the producer, the way the producer makes the music. Swizzy on the beat, Mustard on the beat, DJ Khaled, another one. Like, these are all things you kind of remember all the time, that they become subconscious. You hear them all the time, so when you hear it, you automatically know who it is. And you can kind of see how they develop and make music. From, like I said, Khaled to NERD, Pharrell, to Timbaland. They all have specific sounds that you can characterize to, on top of the artist, on top of the genre. The last one was what? What did I put? Oh, yes. Concept is being something that you're not. So today I'm a Superman. Today I'm a fireman. Today I'm a babysitter. Like, I don't know. Whatever it is that you want to be in your imagination to add to your character. And you can see this from you guys see Keone Mari's Crazy piece, the Loved One, how they're they've been in the psychiatric ward and they blah, 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 blah. That's a character that's in real life. We all know we're not crazy, but some of us may be. In a situation, on top of a genre, on top of an artist, and then you get that whole concept, and it just becomes clear to many, many people who can relate to different aspects of that art piece. So that was day 1. Wow. I just pretend you said wow. And I talked about this a little bit too, but day 2 was about musicality, character again, but also texture. And I gave an example of texture as the peanut. So the subject of your dance is the peanut. You guys know peanut, yes? I hope so. But to change the texture of it, to get something new out of it, and I'm thinking of this in choreography or movement itself, when I hit boom, or if I hit boom, or if I hit boom. 3 different ways to hit: bass to bounce, or activate to hit. Those are different textures of mentality of one subject. So the peanut, I'm gonna use the box analogy. I'm looking straight, right? Subject is the box, that's the peanut. The front of it is crunchy, the hard form of it, right? You put it in your mouth, crunch, crunch, crunch. I turn it, it's the smooth part. When you crunch it up and you add all the oils into it, it becomes peanut butter. Another texture, it's smooth. I change it again, I'm crunching it to a fine, fine form. It becomes powder. It's a powder granulate. It's a grain that you put on your Thai food. Switch it again, extract. It's the oil, becomes a liquid form. peanut oil, yeah? And then I went even further. I said on top of the box is how you relate to it. The subject, the texture, and how you relate. The top of it I call positive. That's the benefits of what peanut does for your body. The benefit of that texture. The under part I call the negative. It doesn't have to be if you think backwards. The negative part would be an allergic reaction. You die. Something like that, right? Or you just blow up like Will Smith on that one movie. Was it Hitch? Hitch? Shout out to Will Smith. Talk to you soon. If you pick up. So I'll leave that subject alone. Just as a review for those who actually missed stuff, okay? I'm gonna run it through. Number 3 was a deep one. Not emotionally, but mentally, and it was on creation. For those who are interested in creating movements, creating choreography, creating in their freestyle, which is also this choreography in freestyle. And the analogy that I gave was the 6-step. So, a lot of B-boys might mention, I don't like choreography, I never do it. But if you ask them to do a 6-step, it's choreography. They just do it in a different moment. It's more momental. So it becomes an arsenal, your weaponry for a dance, that you're able to pull any weapon that you need for that moment. That's what you want to try to treat a creation process. But you can also create for art. And choreography to me is art. I look at it, it's a picture. No matter how many times I look at it, it's the same picture. Choreography is just replicated, it's repeated over and over to a specific part of music or the whole song. It's an art form. It's still dance, but to me, and this is my opinion, you don't have to agree or not, again, you feel free to disagree. It's okay also. It's not true dance to me. It's not raw dance. When I see someone says, yeah, I could dance, and they do a choreography, I'm like, cool, you can move. You can move to art form. Now take what you did right now and do it to a different song. It becomes a clash. And when it doesn't feel natural anymore, it doesn't feel raw to me. So it's not raw dance. Instead of, when Capella throws on music and you guys just have fun and make up stuff on the spot, that's raw energy right there. And you guys know the feeling. The difference of a raw form class, for example, Capellas, versus an art form class, which is the choreography. Both still positive things, depending on what you want to like, but just know the difference of why you may feel different in certain things and why you may not grow in another thing. I don't feel comfortable in choreography, surprise, but I know the arts of choreography, therefore I can imitate it in my art form. But I have so much raw energy, sometimes it just doesn't work on choreography, and you can kind of see that in my dance. Or, for example, was a showcase. I know what the art form is, but when that shit turns on, my body's like, boom, Hadouken. Like, I'm shooting all this energy because it's just me in that moment. My body's going 100%. I unlock. I have no worries in the world other than just performing on stage. My worries stop when I start, and then my worries come back after. I'm back to Orlando. Yeah, me again. I could turn off. I gave the example of a skeleton. For those who are interested in building choreography, we use a term a lot in the States called a skeleton. Maybe you might have heard it or not, or a pyramid. It's something from top to bottom, beginning to end, on how to create. The terms I gave was bones, nervous system, organs, your muscle, your skin, and then a complete body. And the terms that I gave that to is that the bones I relate to the music. The first thing is your music. It should be the first. You shouldn't think move first and then try to find the music. Like, okay, this is cool. Now I need to go find a song that matches that. It should not be that way. It should be backwards. Music first, your first natural instinct of what you feel. Got it? Good. Next part is nervous system, and that's your senses, what you sense in that when the music starts. Music's there, and then what you react and feel from it. All your senses, that's the nervous system, our nerves, how we react and our brains get information. Organs, I call mapping out the function. Organs are the functions of your body, how it lives, how they all work together like a clock. Every clock piece has gears. I map out the moments of what I feel in my choreography. And this is coming from a freestyler perspective. I'm pretty sure someone else can give a different point of view who come from a studio background, studio style that has a certain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mine is just go. So I want to map how I feel in these moments to see which parts feel strong that I need to build on, or to create moments in musicality that you might not hear. So the little accents like ding, 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 but the bass is like boom, 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 boom. So you can't hear those ding, 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 dings, right? Finding a natural moment to bring that little sound up when that bass doesn't hit. To have someone hear that, to me, is my success. Or, sorry, I accomplished something by bringing a small sound to a higher note. Let me grab some water. It's hot today. Back. The next part is muscle. Muscle, I add physical movement. I freestyle now. I mapped it out, I heard the song, I feel it, and then I dance. I try to figure out what my body's feeling to match those moments in that art form. So I don't try to make choreography yet. I just know that on a boom, I'm gonna go boom. But I don't know what this is gonna look like until I solidify it. If I gotta turn my wrist, if I gotta push out, if I gotta do this, that's that picture that I fine tune later on. But I know my reaction and intent, my muscle memory, is that force always feels the same there when I repeat. The skin is just solidifying everything. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna fine tune and protect this whole piece that I'm doing. And then the body is the complete piece. Is that okay? Sweet. I know I'm dropping a lot of brain bombs for those who didn't come, but you didn't come. And then we had another deep conversation about a different aspect, because I've probably spoken to a lot of you guys, and we've sitting outside talking at parties and classes and whatnot, or on the way, or in the shower, or wherever you guys find me, right? People who feel depressed or limited or hindered because of their weaknesses and strength. Been seeing quite a few people crying at this event because they feel that they're not accomplishing something or they're overstressed. One thing I can say is knowing where you're going and why you're going. That where you come from, let's say you dance at a dance studio weekly, right? 1 time a week, 3 times, 5 times, 6 times, doesn't matter. That studio setting is not the same experience or setting you would get at an intensive workshop. You have to know what you're coming here for. That it's not meant to be tailored to you. It's tailored to an environment. It's meant to inspire and see proof of purchase. You purchase a product, you look in the bag, proof. You purchase the time here and the experience, and you see the proof of our experience. It should be more motivational to attain that I can do that one day, or I will do it one day, or I need to work on this. But I can't get everything all at once because the setting is not the same. That's something I just want to share personally. That you don't feel bad that you're not getting something. Just pick what you like about the person, what they say, the music that you like in class, and just kind of focus on that and build on yourself in time. Trying to do things all at once becomes chaotic. There's no order, and that causes stress, which causes tears. And that's what we don't want. Just knowing why you're here and know that the environment's high level because you have high-ass level teachers, but you also have artists as well. You have some artists here who have purpose. Their purpose is to motivate and just be around them, see them live in the moment versus YouTube and TV, and hear them talk and joke around with you and look at you in person, instead of phones. And phones are fine, we don't mind that, to record the moment. But, try not to look at the screen, and you can just hold it and look at us as well, too, that you're here for an investment, and that investment is you. You're investing your time and all the money you saved for years or a year. I've heard someone save money for 2-3 years just to get here. Damn, you bro, you too, huh? That's an honor to us. All right, you made plans to be here for us, so we got to give you even more kind of thing. That motivates me. And then, not that those artists aren't teachers, but you also have educators, teachers who will teach something for you that's tailored to you, for a routine for you to achieve, or will speak in a certain way, or will teach slower, or will go over things a little bit more better, because we know the level of education or absorbing information is different on all levels. I'm that kind of teacher. I will break the music down. You'll see in my class on the last day. And I know I'm on the last day, so I'm not gonna overkill you guys. We'll make something fun. But I will drop the musicality so the tempo, so that we can build subconsciously that tempo, so that becomes one less worry, so we can focus on having fun and just figuring out our bodies. And what else did I tell you about? Oh, we talked about ego, but we got kind of short. Two terms, ego, and then there's egotistical. Healthy and unhealthy. A healthy ego is something that's just you. Actually, I have the definition, right? Did somebody write down the definition? I got it, hold on. Good old phone. Here we go. Definition of ego, the positive one, the healthy one, right? A person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance. You're important. It's okay to feel that way. That doesn't mean that you look down on anybody. It's okay to be confident in yourself, or sometimes cocky, but not showing that you're like, hey, I'm better than you than this. It's just something to feel good about that helps you push to the next level. The other part, the negative, is egotistical. And this one is excessively conceited or absorbed in oneself, self-centered. They don't acknowledge and look at anybody in the world. It's just them. It's all about them, no matter what. How they talk to you is down. They're on the pedestal and they're on top. You're holding them up, no matter what, and they're just eating grapes, right? That's the bad part. It's unhealthy. And the three things I call ego, to let go, which I want to give you guys here too, to see how it operates for you. If I turn the E around, it turns into a 3, right? If you do a capital E, not the lowercase, because then it just looks like whatever. 3 things to let go when it comes to ego, which I wanted to share the last class where we got cut short. 1 is vanity. Your looks, worrying about your looks. I'm gonna talk about the positive and the negative. The positive thing about your looks is your purpose. If you're going for an audition and it has a certain look, you have to worry about your looks for the benefit of getting selected to push your career or whatnot, to be aware of looks. The negative, to rely on how you look and someone doesn't acknowledge it, can cause depression. You're worried about their approval based on your looks. You're always focused on your looks, whether it's your well-being or makeup or whatnot. It's fine, but it shouldn't be that part that's self-centered in you. It shouldn't be your world of when you wake up and I need to look like this in order to be me. That's the negative part. That's number 1 to get rid of, to not be egotistical. Because then you start judging other people, how they look, how they're born, how dysfunctions, mental whatever. You start judging people in a way and it becomes negative, and then you start feeding that negative energy to people. Then you wonder why they react a certain way. The second part is gain. Gain as in riches, money, or even gain as in knowledge. Yes, I say I'm intellectual, but I will never talk to you or treat you in a way that you're not smart enough or as smart as me. I will say things in ways for you to understand what I'm thinking, because I care for you to understand what I'm saying. I want you to understand. But I'll never be like, well, you don't get that, well, you're not smart enough. That's another ego thing. That's belittling. You're looking down at somebody. Riches is how much money you got. I want more money. This person ain't got more money. Look at my clothes, look at their clothes. The gain connects to looks, also with fashion. Like, it's cool, but it shouldn't be your world. Vanity and gain, get rid of it for the positive. I mean, yes, for the negative, but for the positive. The third one is status, hierarchy, rank. In an aspect like military, you got the grunts, then the generals, and the corporals, and the lieutenants, and the captains. It becomes a status play, and status right now is all on social media. How many followers you have, how many likes did you get per video, blah, 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 motherfucking blah, blah, right? Status is an ego thing, and it's more right now that it's changed because of social media, it becomes more personal, that you have to be acknowledged by not even how many likes that you get, how many likes when you get it. I didn't get 1,000 likes in a minute. What the fuck? Like for real, you're really worried about that? Wow, okay. Or always being on the phone. You're always worried about what the next update is. If you don't catch up, you're late. You're behind. You know, that's an illness that's happening right now. But what sucks is that we need that platform too in order to succeed or be current. It's a weird balance, but it comes to that. Like Brian said, who was here for Brian's part, right? He talked about balance when we talked about family and stuff, tipping the scale, just having a balance of negative and positive. It has to be. That's how the world works. Yin and yang, black and white, girl and boy. And then there's like more stuff you want to talk about that. Yes. Damn, I cannot hear you. I'm sorry. How can status be positive? Status can be positive in this aspect of this. My status, I'm a teacher, I'm a leader. But I'm not telling you what to do, I'm doing it to pass it off. You guys are students. It's a hierarchy. Some of you are teachers, but as of right now, you're a student to a teacher. But there's no negative relationship. It depends on the relationship to it. I'm not being negative to you guys to say that, hey, I'm better than you because this is where I'm at. But there is a status play. And status comes from experience as well. That's how you get a rank in the military or whatnot. Or you started Instagram in 2009 and someone else started an account today. There's a number rank why they have so many followers. They were just before you. It's just experience. That's all it is. But it can be attained in time. Just don't let that become your world because then, again, causes depression. There's a lot of depression going on right now, whether you know it or not. You have it right now. It's just not as heavy as some folks. I'm depressed, but I'll never show it. You know, it just depends on my day, how I feel, what my goal is. And if I don't succeed in my goal in that day, that makes me unmotivated. I become depressed. I'm like, you know what? That sucks. Well, tomorrow, depression gone. But I had 1 second of depression. It's there, it's part of human nature. That's all it is. But I hope that answered your question, yeah? Cool. I hope I don't delete nothing again like last time. For those who are here, someone saved my life. And then we kind of got on a side subject of, I've been hearing people talking about how the parents don't support. We talked about support also as a weakness and strength. I connected that. So Brian talked a lot about his point of views with family, and also, I said Dylan, talked about his point of view of family and then my point of view that I don't allow my parents or my support. We talked about parents, for those who have issues with, you're not a doctor, you're not this, you should do this, but hey, our passion is art. And yeah, art doesn't really make that same kind of money. It's a struggle you have to accept. If you're gonna do art as a passion, just know that you have, like I mentioned, you have to have a backup plan that supports your art. Our art right now, our passion, we'll say it's dance, right? For me, it's not, but it's dance. Dance and fashion, If it ever falls, you can fall on fashion if you love it. Push it back up to support it. The money you make from fashion supports your passion again. Dance and filmography, TV, toys. I'm toys. I like design and stuff, but I'm making a Mr. Wiggles figure. That's my passion, but it's still part of dance in aspect, Dance and music, dance and singing. Like, there's things that can support your craft when it starts to fail, because you don't ever want to waste that time and then you become depressed again. You can never get that back. Then you're, like I mentioned, like a funny joke, you're back at home with your parents with, 5 or 6 shifts at Starbucks. And that's the rest of your life. Your passion's gone, and it's hard to get another passion again. You don't ever want to kind of lose that feeling. Just have that base and that strength and confidence that I can push to the next level of me. That's all it is. Was that okay as a review? Yo, cool question. Cool question. What time are we stopping at? Okay, just so I know. In 30? 40? I just want to give, I'll keep going. This next part is another subject I've been hearing a lot in class. Okay, I got it. Touchpads. 720? Oh yeah, okay. I really want to give this a thought. This subject's on memory, and a lot of folks in class I've been hearing having issues with memory, memorizing choreography, memorizing the beats. It's too fast-paced, the teacher's teaching too fast, I can't memorize. We all think in different levels, right? What I want to find out, or what I want to give you is the tool to find out how you think and how you can maybe change that perspective to find what form that you think in that you can apply it back to yourself in order to work and grow faster. You gotta figure out how you think first before you try to think and do things. Otherwise there's clash. And it happened to me. I had to figure out how I thought in things, how I naturally think. You know, like I mentioned with Brian that was here, or let's talk about Paradox. To me, he's a mathematician. He thinks in numbers, angles. You see it, how he dances. It's all calculated information to numbers of the music. Timing. Timing is numbers. There's so much math in that boy's brain. Man's brain. He's a man now. Brian is literary. He writes wordplay when he dances. You can hear the music and sound, how it travels. He's a writer, in my sense. He's a novelist when he does stuff. Because he'll do wordplay, I love you. Like I said, that's my easy one. I know that one. But he'll do stuff in a different way, and then you get creative to try to change the word to a different meaning. Then someone understands that. That's like reading a book to me. In aspect to that, I go back to the rule of 4 perspective, the box, 4 sides. How is it that you think? How does your brain think? 1 is linear, in a straight line or in order. I think a little bit like this, and it's okay to think many ways. I would say I'm like 20% of this style. I think in a line, more so that I have an idea and I know the direction I want to go to finish it. It's a straightforward line, beginning, end, linear, a line, A to Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, M, P, right? Boom, done. The other part is reverse. Same thing, but Z to A, or whatever alphabet's in your language, right? Same thing, reverse. You work backwards. You have a goal, right? I want to be famous, whatever, right? What do I gotta do in order to do that? And reverse engineer. Break down the successes to get to see where you're at the base. Not to be depressed, but to have a goal. Working backwards. I work backwards in choreography. So people will hear music, blah, 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 and they make the routine. I work backwards. I work on the emotion first, like I said, it's linear. Then I skip to the end goal of what concept and what I imagine it'll be like, and then I work backwards until the movement is last. The third one is non-linear. It jumps in line. So you can go A to D to F to P to Z. You have markers of what you want to do and how you want to think. I want to be a doctor. Okay, I know doctor's Z, right? I know I have to go to school. Well, actually, I gotta take my parents' money, go to school, study, get the degree, try to get a job, assist another doctor, become whatever, blah, 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 right? But then between this, there's a bunch of other steps that you don't know, but you at least know your markers, right? That's non-linear. It just skips around. The last one is abstract, unorthodox. It's controlled chaos. You think in anywhere. You have no order, but it still makes sense to you. So I want to learn this to get to this, but it takes too long, so I'm going to learn this now, but I'm going to do this there, and it kind of jumps around until it becomes fine point, and then it's in the center. It's like chaos. Those 4. So the 1 was linear, A to Z, for those who are writing. 2 was reverse linear, Z to A. The word I used term was reverse engineering, breaking down an engine. The engine is you. Something happened outside. They're still spitting at each other all night, though. I could talk about that, too. I said that. They fly around the world to come spit at each other. Yeah, why don't they just do like Skype or WhatsApp voice chat and just spit at that? Save their money. Sorry, I think like this. The third one was nonlinear, but has markers. A, D, B, blah, blah, however you want to do it in order. D, B. I haven't been in school in like 13 years, so yeah, jumps around. Question? Like checkpoints. Checkpoints, markers, better term. Checkpoints, yes, let's use that one. Thank you, sir. I like your hair. And then the last one is abstract or unorthodox. It's just kind of everywhere, you know? Which I like how firelock, you guys know firelock in Hurricane? Unorthodox locking? It's not techno, there's technical to it, but it's everywhere. And that's where that funk comes in. That funk throws off what the technical parts are, but there's still technique in it. But you don't want to be controlled by that structure. You just want to be free. I love that they use that term for their duo or crew. I love that. Are we okay with this? Yes. Water break. It's dry today. Okay, so those were ways to figure out how you think in order, right? It's how you think, not... I'll get to that in a second. That one's how you think. The other part is knowing your vocabulary. Vocabulary is just the information that's stored in groups in your mind, like art, dance. Knowing which goes where helps create order in your mind, which causes less stress. It helps stores memory in places where you need it. No order creates mental chaos. Makes sense, right? In the galaxy, in the universe, you have order and chaos. If you read comics, it's always about bad and good, order, chaos. Demons, angels, whatever. So when you try to recall anything in that moment, when you need it, you become too busy digging in your chest. You're looking in your toy chest, right? For that one toy that's like this small in a big toy chest, right? When you don't have order, you spend too much time digging for that one thing, therefore you fall behind. When you fall behind in class, it's because you have a certain chaos going on in your mind that has no order. You can learn the moves, right? We teach you the moves. When we hit the music, you go blank. Like, what the hell just happened? I lost everything when the music hits because the music overtook all the information that you had used in your chest because there's so much going on in there that you have to worry about your body, the pressure, tension, your breathing, the music, the musicality in music, the tempo in music, the movement, the pressure. Like there's so much to think about that we don't think about in one class, in one moment, in 1 second, that your brain registers and breaks down. Your brain is so amazing if you use it and use it as a muscle, like as a tool. It's a tool. So you have to work at it. Work at your tool to strengthen it, just like a muscle. I gave that analogy before. You have to work out and eat nutrition to gain muscle mass. You do it through resistance. And resistance in dance is repetition. Doing a routine. Taking the next class, another routine, next class. That strengthens your mental aspect of dance as well, because it's not just all about the music. It's a lot of physicality also. It's a lot of mental work, a lot of energy that's going around that causes stress. So we want to break those rules to create a new rule for you. The rules that we give you may not be the rules that you need to follow, and it's okay to question this. And this is what I mentioned before about opposing. It's okay to oppose us. To be like, you know what? That ain't right. That doesn't work for me. And I'd be like, you know what? You're right, because you know you more than I do. But it's going to connect somehow. Some other teacher may teach you something and say it in a different way, for you to understand. And then you connect with them. And you connect with me with music, or you connect with Brian with jokes. You know, he jokes, he does a joke. Like more than half his class is jokes. So that was one thing I wanted to bring up. The other thing that is an issue right now, and it goes back to, it connects with social media in this generation. Bam, that's what's up. Everyone's looking at you now. Okay, how would I say this for you to understand? How many of you use your thumb to write more than your whole hand to write, to send a message? When you send a message, how many of you just use one digit? Really? Just y'all? Thumb, finger, pinky, nose, whatever you use to tap to send a message versus writing a message. It should be majority. How many of you guys are on your phones throughout the day? I'm pretty sure it's more, but don't worry, it's okay. What I'm getting at is your brain doesn't operate by one function. To send a message, there's so many letters and words, right, that you want to get across, but you're using one function to pull all that information, giving it one purpose. Therefore, your brain becomes a little bit weaker, right? You press, you touch, you pinch, swipe, right? It becomes a function. But to write a letter to someone takes more functionality in your brain. Your style, the technique that you learn in cursive or print, your style on that technique, the parameters on a page, not to write off the page, how many words you fit on a line to make it not look like chaos and clutter. There's a lot of information that we use in school, for instance, when we have to write essays and stuff, that we don't use now. I don't use it as much. Before I didn't use it as much. Now I do. You know, iPads work, but I try to write as much because when you use more functions, clockwork, gears, your organs, for one purpose, your brain imprints all that information. You remember it more because it used more parts. When it uses less parts, it becomes a tiny little number. If we use numbers like the matrix, you guys know the matrix? It's 0 versus 0011011011. It's a clump versus one thing. You limit yourself by doing this. Therefore, you don't retain the information anymore. It becomes too quick. And when it goes back to social media, it always updates. You're not even able to obtain it anymore. Like Brian mentioned last time, when you make a concept video, it's only for 15 seconds. After that, it's gone. You spent all that time and money on a moment because the next moment came already. That's how fast our lives are happening right now with information. And information is free, and we have no choice to utilize that, but it's not meant to be a tool to hold us back. It's to be applied to us, to use as a function to get further, but not to make us weaker mentally. This generation with social media, I can see how much it affects your guys' memory in class versus when not that I'm old, but 2-3 generations before, don't have many memory problems. We can recall more things because we know the vocabulary of our dance moves. How many of you know the names of what you're doing when you learn a routine? Some, right? But there's a lot of dance moves that we don't know the words of, therefore we can't imprint it, we can't write it in our minds because we don't even know the term to connect it to. That's also the fault of the teacher. It's the teachers also in this generation that are not explaining that information to you. That it's not your fault that you don't know it, you're also not being taught it from a teacher perspective. But it's not our responsibility to help you get there. It's your responsibility to also know this and investigate for yourself. Study. Study is what you're doing. If you have a question, find it. Ask questions. Become smarter. We're all dumb at something. Positively dumb. And I say this positively because I don't ever want to get comfortable not not being comfortable of knowing everything. I always want to be able to reach for more. And if I reach it, there's something else I can't reach. I always keep this mentality, which causes me to be humble. That yes, I have the knowledge that I have and I can share it, but as I'm sharing it, I'm still working myself out to get that. And that journey becomes my legacy. When I get to that final journey and I die, my legacy has passed on to everyone that I've spoken to, looked at, danced with, expressed, and shared connections with. Then your legacy passes to somebody else. It's all information in a weird aspect in our human life as human beings. We are information. There's so much in our design. Depends how far you want to think into it. I'm sorry that I'm going so deep, but I got to. I want to get in your minds and put my hand in it, and then ill. The other part I want to talk about is, before I get to some things to write down, memory in trauma. When you get traumatized by something, again, I always look at both ways. Did you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry, before I get to that.
So yeah, before we go into that one, so I don't really understand how social media could worsen our generation's memory as opposed to, because the generation before us didn't really have social media.
Mm-hmm.
So what did they have that was affecting the memory positively that we don't have? Or I just don't understand the connection.
The connection, first I'll talk about in terms of social media, is the consistency. It's ongoing, it's fast. So the example I gave was I make a dance video. It took how many hours or plans and months or whatever to do it, investment, money, to post it. Few, whatever, hundreds, millions of people see it. You upload it, it's gone. It's the next one. So once it's gone, no one's really looking back at that no more because we're always going forward. So I have to work on the next video to be apparent or remembered. If I'm not remembered, someone else is gonna take the spot when you swipe and upload. That's the negative part I meant on that part. Not so much that the information is negative, because information is good information. Yeah, too much of it, and then it goes through one ear and out the other. When it goes in, it's so much information. When it goes out, it only leaves a little bit because it's always flowing. And we never get a chance to stop and breathe and pause. What the older generation has is that they have more workforce. They had to work for stuff. They had to go to a library to get information. They had to sign to get an information card and sit down and look for this one book to open the page and turn it to find one part that makes sense to them. There was more work to it. Therefore, they use more parts in their mind and body to get that one thing, and that worth, it becomes more worth to them. When your mind values something, it remembers it. Did I hope I answered that? More than, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I gave an example of, I'll get you next, lasagna. I call this the microwave generation as a joke, is that you put the lasagna, because it has layers, the lasagna in the microwave, you close it, push the numbers, it cooks in 30 seconds, ding, it's done, it's ready. You guys can cook and imitate our moves because of the platform we created, quick. Little 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds doing full choreography sets, crisp. But they don't have the experience and education of the layers that we have. We took decades to build on it. We learned foundations, and then on top of foundations, on top of creations. So if I asked that same student to teach me how to make a lasagna, they couldn't do it. They can cook it and eat it, which is also okay, but they don't know the layers of the cheese and the meat and the sauce and the secret sauce and the sauce and the sauce. Like, there's so much more to it. That's what I meant for that one. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, if we do something in class, like steps or choreography, if you go to your phone right away afterwards, your brain needs to process. Your brain needs to process what you've been doing. Like afterwards,
So you mean more when you record yourself for a class?
Maybe no. If you do something like crisscross, you're doing that.
Okay.
Like your brain needs to process what you have been doing.
Mhm.
If you go directly to your phone, you can get that information instead, and
Mhm.
you don't have time to think of it because you haven't.
Yeah, you want to tell them? Yeah. You can come up if you want to tell them. You said it very well. Oh, okay, it's okay.
But you can just
How do I? What?
No, I'm talking to you before, like when you're outside at night,
Mhm.
that people just don't think about what they learned, and after the class or the lecture,
Mhm.
they just don't know how to process it, and the information from social media is replacing it.
Yeah, they.
Instead of doing notes or just reading everything, even in the shower.
It's an order of importance. Like I said, when you give worth to something, you memorize it more. But when you're teaching, when you're learning a routine in class, you're getting all this information, and then when you shut off to go to your phone to check to see if you're whatever, whoever's phone's going off, is that mine? You disregard all the worth of that information that you did. So when you come back to it after break, you just shut off how your body was supposed to function because now it's focusing on something else. It's all about the focus. And that's a problem also, when they say, all right, let's take a water break, and they don't even go get water. They go straight to the phone. That's their water. Like, yeah, I get it, if you got, your mom's wondering where you're at or whatnot, but rarely that's the excuse. It's always to go check social media right away.
and something maybe could be connected to
Mhm.
when you talk about goal. That everything you see is maybe from LA and super hard choreographies.
Mhm.
So that your Instagram is programming yourself to think of that must be the goal. But
Yeah.
maybe you should be like working on yourself, something that you need to work on. So you think about it like that and you want to do that.
Mhm.
Maybe that should be like something,
It should be.
something like something.
But it's these kind of lectures that are helping you to know what should be good for you. Not so much like the negative aspect of this is the level that's being shown to us, like TV. What you need to do in order to win. That's the complex right now. If I don't win this, then I'm not a winner. I have to be this level, I have to look like this, dance like this, do concept like this in order to win. And it becomes a cycle. And it's not a healthy cycle, but again, TV and industry is for branding and business. It's a business aspect. It's for money. It shouldn't be your goal for life. We know we have to make money about stuff, but it shouldn't be your goal of why you dance. And that goes back to knowing your reason and purpose, which we talked about in another class. But yes, thank you. That was good.
And
Yes.
you'll be less happy. Less happy.
You'll be more happy.
Trying to get someone else's purpose,
Mhm.
you'll be like less happy of all the
Yes, yes. It'll become a weight.
cannot
Yeah,
everybody here, our purpose cannot be to be there.
right.
Nobody.
Nobody wants to be down, weighted down. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else before I go on? Because you guys are dropping good questions. Yes?
I think the problem is that everything goes too fast. A lot of people don't, I don't know how to say it, when they hit a hard spot, they just give up. They
Yes.
don't want to learn, they don't want to
They don't want to work.
push themselves.
Yeah, work. Yeah.
So I think that's the problem with social media, that's the problem of the things that are going
Yeah, it's this. Social media causes laziness. Compared to, I say this term, it's don't compare to despair. Despair is to have that negative thing like you're in class, you look at somebody and like, oh, I like the way they do that move. I want to work at it and be good just like that. That's a positive aspect. The despair part would be I look at them, And I'm like, dang, I'm not as good as them, so I'm just gonna quit. They make me unmotivated. That's the despair part. We don't wanna ever compare for this kind of stuff.
I think that a lot of people, especially for example dancers, yeah, you have trainings 2 times a week.
Hmm.
They come, they learn, they don't try it at home because they think that they can learn it in 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, a split.
Hmm.
Yeah, we should, some girls should say, no, I want to do that. Yeah, but you need to train. Oh,
Yeah, exactly that. It's a lazy thing. They don't wanna work. They don't like the stress that they feel in their body because it's pain. But if there's no pain, there's no gain. That's the term that they always kind of say, right? No pain, no gain. We've all heard it. But if you don't work at something, there's no result. You never get a result. I always tell people if you run into a problem, because I do this too, when I mention that I don't get choreographers blocked, I don't ever get blocked when I create something. Because I either work through the problem or I work around it, over it, under it, but I always move forward. I don't let that one point hold me back in my creation. But if I ever have to fix that bump, I will go back to, all right, maybe this part of the choreography didn't really feel right. I'm gonna work at it now that I know the feeling, the complete package, that I need to fix that one zit, that one little bump. But it shouldn't be something that becomes so big that you can't get around it and you're like, damn, I'm too lazy to climb that. So I'm gonna do something else. Yes, last one. When, oh, when you doubt yourself? Yeah, I never doubt myself. But I can think in it by when I discuss and talk to other people. It's okay if you guys gotta go, no problem. I know you got the next class. But don't worry. I think of it this way, where if I do doubt myself in something, that's when I know I need to take a pause and look back and reevaluate. Why do I feel this way? And what was it that I was trying to do? I just take a break. Because like I said, in our generation, we're always moving quick that we have no time to breathe. And that whoa, sound like ghost. Sorry. Yeah, I hope I said that in the right way. It's just taking a pause, breathing, analyzing, and then going forward again. But not to be weighted down by that. And it is a self-confidence thing, like you're confident that even when I do doubt myself, that I also believe in myself, that I have the ability as somebody else to grow from it or learn from it. Just take it as a learning experience versus a hindrance, like I can't move forward. Cool, almost gonna close out. We have how many minutes? 10? Cool. So the last part of the information for those who actually wanna write stuff down, we talked about the 4 ways of how you think earlier, the linear, reverse engineering, nonlinear, unorthodox. The last things I want to give you guys to think about in this form, once you figure that out, is another path. It's memory practices, knowing what to practice for your memory, basically, memory practices, right? There's 4, again, I'm almost gonna give 4 because it's easier to remember 4 all the time, the complete box. If I keep this kind of method, you can be like, oh, there's 4 this, 4 that, 4 this, 4 that, even though there's more, right? One memory practice is photographic. I'm this. I can go to one place once and never go there again for 20 years later, and I can remember how to get there. Since I was a kid, my mom tells the story all the time. No, Mom, we live this way. I can't remember those times, but I'm photographic. When I saw The Matrix and Neo saw the numbers, I was that. I was like, that's me. They wrote that movie for me. I'm Neo, right? The numbers are there, I see the shapes, my memory picks up the colors, even though I'm not even focusing on it. It takes a picture, it's photographic, and then it keeps creating pictures, and it becomes a whole line, and then it connects, and my mind thinks like this, pictures, pictures, pictures. So I can get to one thing, or I can remember a person's face and how they look or what they wore, but I can't remember their names. That was my weakness. But recently, I started practicing a different mentality of absorbing information where I can remember names. So, first one's photographic, picture, right? The next one is numerical. You remember by numbers. The example I gave earlier was paradox, perfect example. Even though he doesn't show that he's doing numbers, he's all angles, math. You think in counts, you connect movement to counts. 1 E and a, 2 E and a. I can't think that way, but there's those of you who can think in order of counts, or order of tempo, or order of whatever, but it's all numbers. You think in numbers. You're a mathematician. Cool? First one, photographic. Second one, numerical. The third, sensual, your senses. You connect it with emotion. You feel something in one way, in that emotion, and you're able to cause trauma, healthy trauma, to your brain. To memorize that when I feel this way, I remember this time that I was at the beach with my friends, drinking Coke, eating chips, and then this is what I felt like. Your memory catches onto a moment in your senses. If you're this type of person, keep this and apply it to your dance. If you're photographic, think this way and apply it to your dance. If you're numerical, think this way. When you're dancing, talk 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. You're creating a pattern for yourself to remember for the way that you think. The more you do this, the more it becomes natural. It is already natural in you, it becomes a natural practice. You don't worry about those thoughts anymore. You learn so quick, so you can focus on the real stuff that you need to worry about in your dance. We're talking about dance, because we're at a dance camp. So sensual, the ability to recall information. Numerical, to tie all senses to equations, time, cues. Photographic, the ability to visually store and recall information. The last one is storytelling. That's the abstract part. I'm that one when I dance or when I freestyle. And I showed that in an example on day 3 when I danced. When the beat goes on, okay, I'm at a party. Right on. Oh, I see this chick, but she ain't looking at me. So I'm gonna go play ping pong. And I'm gonna drink. I story tell the choreography so that I can always follow that story. That I'm always gonna react that way, you know? Oh, I'm going to the club, that's my rival, dance battle. Oh, he ain't looking at me, throw a bottle at his head. Funny stuff, I do it in a funny, dark humor way. It's storytelling. Some of you guys might be like this. You think of, you gotta do something with the twist of your foot, but you may not be able to execute it. But once you think of, for those who are smokers, throwing out a cigarette, you know how much pressure and tension and angle that your body needs to do that motion. You've all done it before. You already have the information. You just gotta reconnect the wires to think the way that works for you. Or I see a bug, boom, and I twist it and I kill it. It's another action that's similar to putting out a cigarette, that's similar to that dance move that we're trying to learn. Therefore, you memorize it easier. You can replicate that move. You don't make mistakes. You can make mistakes, but not for that instance. So the first one is? Yes. Second one? Third? Yes. And the fourth? Storytell. Yes. Yes, I said that earlier. I'm a percentage of certain things. So it's not that you're that one thing, but say when you learn a routine, you're numerical, right? But when the music turns on, you become sensual because the music's on, you're feeling what you're doing, right? Blah, 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 blah. And then when you watch the teacher dance and you're trying to mimic what they're doing, it becomes photographic. You can do all these things, but just figuring out when to think this in those times that work for you to learn so that you don't forget and get white, you blank out. That's all it is. But yes, you can be more than one, depending on how much effort you want to put towards one. It takes time to figure yourself out, but again, we don't really take time for ourselves because we have to worry about life. It's a lot of weight, but what I want to push is the time now. It's time to think for yourselves and question everything. Don't be sheep. Once you become a sheep, you don't have control of your life anymore. When you oppose, you become a threat, and nobody likes threats, but a threat is respected. When you're a threat, you worry about that. You know, what is he gonna do? What is she gonna do? I'm cautious. You want people to be cautious of who you are for the positive. When they're cautious, they give you attention. Attention is approval. Attention is acknowledgement, recognition. It can be a healthy thing. Everything I'm saying is not meant, I'm using words that are normally thought of as negative things, but I'm saying them examples as positive things. That it doesn't have to be negative all the time. Like I said, ego can be a positive thing. Social media stuff can be a positive thing. It should be a positive thing, but we live in a world that's built on negativity. Cool? So I'm gonna stop there for you guys so we can get the rest of our day and dancing and stuff. But I appreciate you guys coming back, laying it out. And again, like every day, I will try to review a little bit of stuff and then add on, because I don't want to just drop so much and then kind of forget the lesson, in case we forget. Because again, you're here learning so much information. So now you got to drop all this and go feel your bodies. Thank you, guys. And again, I'll be here for a little bit if you want to talk about some stuff, personal things.